Were there nationalist leaders in Harlem during the 1930s who were active?
Yes. Oh, yes. Great nationalist leaders. I have some of the names written down here.
There was, Sufi.
Sufi and Arthur Reed and
Ira Kemp.
Ira Kemp. How do you know about that? That's wonderful. You've done your homework. And Mother Phillips and my sister Eloise and my sister Loretta. 3 sisters of us.
Mm-hmm.
Myself. And there was a great number of us. Of course, there was a period now I wasn't nationalist. I became an integrationist. But still, I was out there with the nationalists fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's one thing. I never did
Was this a period
lose
when
all of my nationalism.
Was this a period when the nationalists and the party people worked together, or there was tension?
They never actually worked together. There was always tension, clashing. They never wanted us to be nationalists or to have any nationalist concepts.
Were the nationalists able to organize effectively in the community?
Well, they enjoyed certain prestige among the people. They weren't so much about organizing as they were talking from the street ladder.
Mm-hmm.
The corners, you see, that was their method
Mm-hmm.
of enlightening the people. So this way they really reached hundreds of thousands of people.
And so this was something in the spirit of the people, but they weren't in the position to organize mass struggles at that time.
They didn't. The mass struggles was organized by the communists.
Mm-hmm. At what point did you begin to change your ideology and your outlook?
When I realized that we were going the wrong direction, I tried from 1945, actually. I realized that we just couldn't keep going. As a matter of fact, before then, before 1945, I recall somewhere about 1940s, in the early 1940s, I went to El Browder and talked to him about what I thought, and told him that I felt that we weren't achieving the goals that we should be. I mean, the results from our goals we weren't achieving. And so they sent me to Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. In 1943, they sent me to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Right after Ben Davis's campaign, they sent me.
Oh, to work there.
Yeah, and the people just felt terrible about it.
Mm.
One woman told me it was like uprooting a big old tree. This is what she said.
Mm. Wow.
But I could see we were going wrong. And then, as I said before, you know, I had to write leaflets and things like that, and my position was changing, and I began to question this whole thing about Negro. Well, at first I thought it was just a word, that we were just being called Negro, and it was incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
It was politically incorrect. And then when it struck me that we weren't just called Negroes, but actually Negroes were made out of us. We were, in fact, Negroes. Oh, my God. I nearly died. Bile began to pile up in me. Oh, and one day, that bile came out. Oh, I was vomiting from my mouth on the wall, shooting back and forward, nothing but bile. And then I went out like a light. I don't know how long I stayed there, because I couldn't get a discussion. And I went to everybody trying to get some reasoning, you know, get a position. And of course, all the time I doubted myself. I always had an inferiority complex toward those members who were so well equipped. And they were. They could just espouse Marxism, Leninism, and all of those profound teachings, and I couldn't do it. I never mastered any of it, but I did get a smattering, enough to know that we needed to know that. If we were going to get our freedom, we need to know it. But I couldn't get anybody to talk to me because I wanted a big nationalist, black nationalist movement with Paul Robeson at the head of it, which would have assured us that we would be connected with labor, and I could see that we could win that way.
Yeah. It's such a shame that didn't develop, because it would have...
Yes, you see, we'd have had the correct orientation. I wanted a communist philosophy, but I wanted us to have a chance to organize our people. And I knew as long as we kept putting whites in, we'd never get organized. But they began to look upon me with suspicion. And incidentally, at that time, also the CIA was trying to enlist me in their work and told me to name my price. And I wanted freedom. I've never given in to any of the enemies coaxing in any way whatsoever. But I told them, white man, I would spit in your eye. They asked me. And then the CUDAIR committee called me to tell them about the teachers' un-American activities in the school. So I went down and I said, well, it's a good thing you called me because I know of un-American activities in our school. I said, that's fine. I said, but where are the people? Oh, no. I said, this is just a subcommittee of the CUDAIR committee. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I got to have, not with all this stuff I know, I got to have the press and all the people here to tell you about the un-American activities going on. Say, do we understand you to say you're not going to testify before this committee? I say, oh, no, you don't understand me to say that. You understand me to say I'm dying to testify.
I'll never forget reading the testimony of Paul Robeson before that committee, the way he turned it around.
Yes.
Before that guy, Walter.
Right. Oh, Paul was a great man. It's awful. Awful what happened to Paul. Oh, it's awful. Oh, it's awful. We've had so many good people destroyed. So many. And a lot of white people was destroyed. Brought up on charges of white chauvinism and all that, when it didn't have to be. You see? Because everything was organized wrong. Everything was organized